Hi friends, welcome to CAIIB's today's session. Today we'll be studying the first module of BFM, and that also we'll be studying correspondent banking in that. So before starting, let's start with the motivational quote. Okay. So I always focus on only one motivational quote on a daily basis because I believe that we should read less and think more on the same. Okay. So when obstacles arise, you change your direction to reach your goal. You do not change your decision to get there. Means you don't change your goal, but you change the ways of doing the things. Okay. So that is the way of learning. That is a learning in your life. Okay. Next, download Adda 24/7 app on your mobile to get the latest details of various banking examinations and various government examinations. Also, you'll get the study material plus the video lectures on this, free and paid. So kindly download it as fast as you can. Also, use this code Y432 to get a flat 77% discount on Adda 24/7 app for the CAIIB exam lectures. So do it fast because these offers are only limited to some extent. Okay. So let's start with today's topic. Today's topic is correspondent banking and NRI accounts. We'll be finishing correspondent banking, and if possible, then we'll go for this NRI accounts. So what is correspondent banking? Only this part we'll try to cover this part only, correspondent banking. So what is correspondent banking? Okay, before going to this correspondent banking in Forex, I'll ask you one question. You might have, many of you might be bankers. Okay, so you might have handled the clearing accounts, clearing operations in the bank. So what do we do in clearing? We have certain checks. Okay, and now it's that CTS. But what do? We send the same to the clearing house. Right? We used to, means now the clearinghouse concept is got blurred, but we used to send the checks to the clearinghouse and then get the funds. Then from there, it used to be launched to the bank on which it was launched. Okay. And then the funds would transfer in the reverse way. Right. So in that thing, what we used to do, we had one account with the clearinghouse. Right. Means if I am in SBI, I had an account with the local clearinghouse, whichever it might be. If it's by SBI, then again a separate account over there also, okay, of my bank. So that account is known as this correspondent banking concept. Okay. Also, in earlier times when we didn't have this net banking, so there used to be DDs which were drawn on various other banks where we did not have our branches. Even now, many of the banks might be having it, but now it's over with this NEFT and RTGS. Okay, so there, what we used to do, we used to make an arrangement with some bank for issuing the DD where we did not have the branch, and that bank had the branches in that location. So that is called as correspondent banking. Now, same logic of DD can be applied in Forex also. How? In Forex, what do I do? Suppose if I am, let's say, SBI in India, and there are many branches of mine in India, but what about USA? Do I have many branches in USA? No. But if I have to transfer something or do some transaction in some state of USA, where I don't have the branch, how will I handle it? Or there are two options available with me. If I am in SBI, I have two options. One, telling the customer that we don't have the branch and we can't handle the transaction, and gone. Okay. And second option is I will have some arrangement with the local bank in that state in USA. Okay. And with that state, with that branch, I can do the transaction from here, sitting in SBI, and that bank over there will hand over the cash or whatever the requirements are to that person. Similarly, the reverse way. So what is correspondent banking now? Correspondent banking means now you have got two banks, right? One is SBI over here and second is some other bank in USA. So what are these banks called to each other? These banks are called correspondent banks of each other. Correspondent, okay? When we send the correspondent, means if I am not able to attend some meeting and I send somebody, what do those guys say? Some correspondent representing that person has come, right? Same thing is in this. If I don't have a branch in USA and somebody does a transaction on my behalf over there, so that's a correspondent. Okay. So basically, remember, now we'll go to the definitions, because once you have understood, then it's easy. The international trade and finance is based on, number one, network of international banks. Network. Why network? Because every bank in any country can't have its branches all over the world. As simple. So we have to depend, we have to rely, we have to coordinate with certain other banks. So that's called as the network of banks. Then the support and services provided by other banks in the foreign countries. So we are definitely dependent on them, right? So that's the way, that's the way banking is done nowadays. It's a cooperation, give and take relationship. Okay. So where is this useful now? This is useful in the second para. What is that second para? Large number of Indians living abroad send remittances to India. Okay, for sustenance of the parents, near and dear ones, and for savings and investment. Even the NRIs in somewhere outside, they also do savings in India. Why? Because the rate of interest in India are higher than that in USA or many other developed countries, right? So if the rates are higher, ultimately everyone will try to get the benefit of the higher rates, right? Similarly, the property rates also, they fluctuate more in India. So that's why NRIs try to invest more in India, okay, because of higher returns. So if somebody wants to invest, somebody is staying in US and he wants to invest in India, how will he do? He will do it through some correspondent bank over there, in which he'll have the account. And here also, the person who is having the account and whom he wants to give the funds. So that way the network will be established. So remember, it's a network of international banks and support and services provided by other banks in foreign countries. We have to depend on that. So correspondent banking means relationship between two banks which have mutual accounts with each other, or one of them having account with the other. Means either mutual, means both have accounts with each other, or one bank only has the account with the other. Okay. So what are those called? Nostro, Vostro, Loro, right? We might study this today, but many of you might be knowing it. A relationship and servicing of banking needs as agents without having account relationship means some bank can act as an agent also over here. Means it's not compulsory for both the banks who deal with each other to have accounts with each other. They can deal through some XYZ party also, agents. Okay. So that agent can act without having any accounts. Here, these two banks don't have any account with any other guy. Okay. Then also that other person can act as agent for transfer of funds. Now, who is this? It's similar to that private money transfers, Western Union, everything like those guys. Okay. So what are the various types of accounts with correspondent banks? Nostro, Vostro, and Loro. Now, what is Nostro? Nostro is always, remember, see here, get the clarity between Nostro and Vostro. Nostro to one bank is Vostro to another bank. Okay. Means if SBI India is having account with Citibank USA, then the account for SBI is a Nostro, but the account for Citibank is a Vostro. Okay. So same account, only the angle of looking at it is different. Okay. And Loro means what? Third party's account, their account with them. So just for the definition's sake, Nostro account means our account with you. SBI Mumbai maintaining USD account with Citibank New York in Nostro is the Nostro account in the books of SBI, right? Vostro means your account with us. Same above sentence. SBI Mumbai can maintaining a USD account with Citibank New York is a Vostro account in the books of Citi, right? For them it's Vostro. For SBI it's Nostro. Similarly, the reverse way. Okay, means if Citibank USA is maintaining account with SBI, then in the books of Citibank, it will be a Nostro. In books of SBI, it will be a Vostro. Loro means what? Loro means their account with them. It's not actually an account, but a term of referring to a third party with a bank other than us. Means we are referring, both the guys who are dealing with each other, both the banks, are referring to some third party. Okay, that's Loro. Citibank referring to rupee account of American Express Bank with SBI Mumbai. Means Amex is maintaining an account with SBI Mumbai and Citibank refers to Amex account. So that is called as Loro. Okay. Now what is a mirror account? Okay. Mirror means what? Again, we come back to the clearing account in this clearinghouse, right? If many of you might be knowing this clearinghouse, how did it function? We maintained a Nostro account with that clearing account, okay, clearinghouse. But similar to that, means in reference or reverse way to that, we maintained a mirror account with our bank, which actually reflected the transactions in that Nostro account with the clearinghouse. Means what? If there was a credit in that clearinghouse account, my mirror account always showed a debit. If there was a debit in that Nostro account of clearinghouse, my mirror account always showed the credit. Same logic applies over here. If there was a credit in that Nostro account, my mirror account showed a debit. Okay. So what was the final instruction given to us? Always in the clearing process, always check your mirror account and that should not be in credit. Always it was told to us. It should not be in credit. Why? Because if that account is in credit, your Nostro will be in debit. Okay. So understand the difference now. While a bank maintains a Nostro account with a foreign bank, mostly in foreign currency, it has to keep an account of the same in its books. So it is copying the same account in the reverse way, like a mirror, in its own books. This is more or less a reflection or a shadow of the Nostro account. Okay. So whatever is credited in Nostro will be debited in mirror. Okay. The entries in the mirror account are used for reconciliation of entries in the Nostro account. So it's a recon process basically. The mirror account is maintained in two currencies, one of which is a foreign currency and another is a home currency. Okay. So mirror will always be in two currencies. You will have two mirror accounts. Okay. One is the foreign currency, means same currency mirror account in which you have a Nostro. And second is a local currency. Why local currency? Because this will be converted to local currency. Okay. And then we'll have whether we have a profit or loss. Because after all, when we have to submit our balance sheets to income tax and various authorities, do we submit it in USD or Euro? No. We submit them in what? We submitted them in rupees. So that's why home currency, this mirror account will also be there. Now what is SWIFT? SWIFT means Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications. Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications. This word telecommunications is always important. What happens in exam if this is asked? We know everything, all these 4 or 5 words first, but this telecommunications we forget or we don't pay heed to. Okay. So always remember this word telecommunications. Remaining always remember. What is it? It's a cooperative society. Always remember. Owned by the member banks and FIS means financial institutions providing secure telecommunication. Okay. So it's a cooperative society basically and owned by the member banks. Okay. Forget this. It's a private limited company owned by the members. Forget this. This is not important. This cooperative society is important. What is BKE? BKE means bilateral key arrangement. What is that? Okay, why should BKE be there? What is the reason for BKE? Okay, many of you might be handling NEFT RTGS in your banks. Okay, so in NEFT, which code do we have? That code is called as anyone? IFSC, right? We have that IFSC code. So why is that code used? What does that code give? That code gives the specific location of a specific bank and a specific branch. That's the meaning of IFSC, right? Why do we have postal address of our houses? Because it gives the specific location of our house within the city, right? So BKE has the same logic as IFSC has it in RTGS or NEFT. IFSC gives the bank and branch. Similarly, BKE gives the bank and branch, specific bank and specific branch. Okay. Of course, many banks have single BKE only. They don't have branch-wise BKE arrangements. Okay, because generally this is handled in head office or some in some big banks by some specific branch as such. Okay, so what is BKE? System of authentication of messages between banks. Okay, system of authentication of messages means what? Similar to IFSC. If I send some money through IFSC code of mine in RTGS, the clearinghouse or RBI will definitely know that it has come from my branch because IFSC code is specific. Similarly over here, authentication of messages between banks. When I know that something has come from this BKE or this code, then I'll come to know that it has come from that bank and that branch. Okay? Banks are required to have an authentication key checked between themselves through a set of format by use of relationship management application, RMA. Okay, what is RMA? It is just a common application for all the banks in the world. Okay, and all the banks use the same application over here. So what are they doing actually? They are punching the BKE keys, and by that I'll come to know that if somebody has punched that BKE key, I'll come to know that the message has come from, let's say, HSBC New York, right? So I'll come to know that. So that is basically BKE, to know the authentication of the branch who is sending the message. Now next is chips. What is chips? Okay. Now we'll have these four things, means four elements over here. Chips, chaps, Fedwire and target. Here. Always remember one basic. There are two groups. Always remember this. Two groups. For studying only. Two groups. Which are these two groups? Chips and Fedwire. And second is chaps and target. Okay. Chips and Fedwire are for USA. Okay. Chaps and target are for this London and Euro. It's European countries basically. Okay. So chips is what? Clearinghouse interbank payment system. Okay. Clearinghouse. It is for clearinghouse interbank payment system. It is a major payment system in USA, majorly New York. Chips is in New York. Understand this. It is fully automated, blah, 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 computer-based messaging system and net settlement payments system used by major banks for settlement of large part of US dollar payments in USA. So basically a net settlement system, similar to that of our RTGS, okay? Fedwire. US, now this chips was for New York. Now this Fedwire is for whole USA. Okay, where chips is not while chips is only for New York. US payment system operated by Federal Reserve, operated all over US. An automated computer-based messaging and payment system working on gross settlement basis. Chips was working on net settlement basis. Fedwire is working on gross settlement basis. Understand the two differences. Okay. All the US banks maintain an account with the Federal Reserve Bank and are allotted an ABA number, okay, to identify the senders and the receivers of the payment. Now, what is this ABA number? Similar to that of our IFSC code, okay, means where for identification of some bank, specific bank and branch. So, what is CHAPS now? Now, we chips and Fedwire, US, New York, and all over US, right? Fedwire. CHAPS is for what? London. Clearinghouse, see the same definition. Clearinghouse, automated payment system. And here it was interbank payment system. So what is the difference? No difference. Both are same only. This is also interbank and this is also automated. Okay. So it's just a competition. You have chips, we have chaps, like that. Okay. So and India will say we have RTGS and NEFT. Even we have gone further now from RTGS and NEFT, right? UPI. India is the most, means India is the highest now in online payment system. You might have saw those videos earlier. These all US, UK, everyone, they are nowhere in comparison to India in the numbers of online payments which we are doing. Okay. So CHAPS, Clearinghouse Automated Payment System. Okay. Okay. It is a major payment system in London. Done. It is fully automated, blah, 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 same thing. Again, CHAPS is net settlement. Okay. Target. Target is what? Trans-European Automated Real-Time Gross Settlement Express Transfer System. So target is gross, Fedwire is gross, chips and chaps are net. Okay, is a Euro payment system comprising 15 national RTGS systems working in Europe. This facilitates receipts and payments of funds across the Eurozone, all member countries. So only three important points to remember from this. Chips Fedwire US, chaps target and it's for chaps is for London, target is for whole of this UK, means Europe. Okay, whole of Europe. Chips is net, chaps is net, Fedwire is gross, target is gross. Over. Nothing more is required for you. Okay. Now NRI banking. Okay, we'll only study the important definitions today. NRI banking. And NRI is a person of Indian nationality and origin who resides abroad for business or vocation, not vacation. It's vocation. Vocation or employment. So what is the meaning of vocation? Vocation means doing some skilled job. Okay, we had that vocationary subject in schools. Anyone remembers? Many of you might be having it. Carpentry, all these things. What is that vocation? Means doing some skilled job. Okay, so business, after all, it's a type of employment only. Business, vocation or employment. Okay, intention of employment or vocation, right? Means basically for intention, employment only. The period of stay abroad is indefinite. This is very important. The period of stay should be indefinite. I shouldn't know up to what time will I stay there. Okay. Now, what does this mean? If I mean that I don't know up to what time I'll just staying there. So what should be the minimum or maximum criteria for that? If tomorrow I come to your bank for an NRI account, means NRE, NRO, any account, what will you say? And I tell you, okay, I want to open. What will you say? See here, RBI has told your stay should be indefinite. So are you indefinitely staying over there? I'll say, no, I've been staying for 2-3 years, last 2-3 years. So no, they're not allowed. We want indefinite. So should I wait till my death for opening that account? Okay. So what RBI has given a clarification in this part that although the stay should be indefinite, but what should be the minimum criteria? How will I segregate between this is an NRI and this is not an NRI? So the segregation is if somebody is staying in the foreign land for more than 182 days in sequence, means no gaps, right? Total 182 days in one stretch, then only he will be considered as an NRI. Otherwise not. Okay. Now what does it mean? Suppose if I go on a foreign trip. Okay. Foreign trip is generally for 15 days, 16 days, 1 month. Okay. If I go on a foreign trip. So will I be considered as an NRI? No. Okay. If I go on, let's say my job deputation, means government job. Okay, I'm posted somewhere as ambassador of India in some country for 3 years. Will I be an NRI? Yes, I will be, because more than 182 days. Okay, if I go there for carpentry in UK, okay, and for indefinite stay, means staying there only, will I be an NRI? Yes, I will be an NRI. So understand the difference. Okay. And next part, PIO, person of Indian origin. A PIO who is a citizen of any other country other than Bangladesh or Pakistan, understand the difference. He should be the citizen of any other country other than Bangladesh or Pakistan. These two countries are not allowed. Okay. If he at any time held an Indian passport, means if he had held an Indian, person had held an Indian passport. So ultimately what happens? If he had held an Indian passport, he will become an NRI. So what happens? What do you mean by that? It means that even this NRI is a part of PIO, because he is also a person of Indian origin only. That is point number 1. And second is he or either of his parents or any of its grandparents, 3 generations. Okay. Parent, grandparents. Okay. In fact, it goes to one step more. Great grandparents. That is also allowed in PIO. was a citizen of India by virtue of Constitution of India or Citizenship Act 1955. Okay? Means he was either of these three layers were a citizen of India. Then also this person will have the status of PIO. So what is the advantage of this PIO status? This status and this NRI status both have similar rights as such. And what is the next part? The person is a spouse, means who all can be the person of PIO now. Understand this difference clearly. The person is a spouse of an Indian citizen or person referred to in subclause B, one or two, means these two. Okay. Spouse means what? If I am an Indian, I go in USA and marry to some USA girl. So she'll automatically become an Indian PIO. Okay. Now, if somebody is a girl and she marries a person in USA, so that person will also become a PIO. Although he is a male, but he'll also become a PIO. It's called spouse. Spouse means both have equal rights. Okay. So that was the point, and that was what we had to study today. So what have we covered over here? What is an NRI? What is a PIO? What is CHIPS, Fedwire, CHAPS, and Target? What is SWIFT and what is BK? What is Nostro, Vostro, Loro? And what is mirror account? Then we have used this correspondent banking and NRI, means the basics of this we have studied. Okay. So again, I would say download this Adda 24/7 app on your mobile to get the updates of various exams and various study materials for all the exams. Okay. For banking as well as other governments also. Use this code Y432 on this app to get a flat discount of 77% on CAIIB exam courses. Okay. So bye for now. Bye from my side. Let's stop over here.